All right, I got a very special guest coming off a very amazing win. I don't even know the words to describe this win, this knockout. The world's most powerful, I hope I got this right. The world's most powerful featherweight in the world, Josh Emmett. Welcome to the show, man.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Excited as I'm building this out. I'm so blessed to have a lot of UFC fighters come on and people in the sports realm. And a lot of people stick to one niche. I want to try to broaden it out, but lately it's been a lot of UFC former and current. And I'm just so glad to have you on because you're coming off one of the most devastating punches, knockouts I've ever seen from a division that, to be honest with you, like I just never really watched some of the lighter weight guys. I always grew up watching, lightweight and up to heavyweight because it's always get these exciting punches. But you have revived my passion to watch the featherweight division, and it's gotten so much more exciting. I'll let you talk, man. I mean, how are you feeling right now after that win? I'm just, again, I had no word when I saw that knockout, man. I've been watching fights for a long time. It just really I was really concerned about Bryce Mitchell, man. It was something else, man. It really was.
I'm still on cloud nine. It's been I'm coming up on 8 years in the UFC. 2023 was a tough year for me just in general. It's like, I got into the sport because I want to become a world champion. I had the most important fights of my life this year. I fought for the interim title and I didn't win that. And then I had another tough defeat. It was the first time ever I've lost 2 fights in a row. And I needed to get back in the win column. I feel like, I just got back to my roots, what got me into the UFC and what got me to the big show. And that was getting back to my wrestling and jujitsu and instead of just standing there and boxing, and I wanted to display a lot more and I was prepared to, but luckily it was the first big shot that I threw to the head. I connected and I got knockout of the night and possibly knockout of the year.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of UFC for years, and I'm a little, I won't say my age, but I'm a little older than you. It must be discouraging, right? And I got to be straight with you because I've watched a lot of fights, and you see so many players, fighters, I should say, dwindle off into the sunset. That you're 38, you're coming off 2 fights, and it's almost like, man, like you start. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying I think fighters start questioning whether they still got it, that type of thing. Did those thoughts ever come to your head? And what shifted into, because now I'm imagining, like the way I see it, because I'm really good at observing fights, I feel there's so much momentum for you going forward. I see a title shot. Like this is what I'm seeing. First of all, what were you going through mentally? And how did you make the switch? And what were you thinking? I lost 2. What do I go back to the drawing board and come back harder? What was the thought process coming off that 2 fight loss? And how were you feeling going into this fight?
Yeah, no, I was feeling great. Like I said, I got back to doing everything that got me to the show, and I wasn't neglecting anything. Not that I was before, but I just had this new fire that was lit underneath me. My back was against the wall. It's like I'm going in there. I don't care who's in front of me. Even though I was supposed to fight Giga Chikadze, I had a perfect game plan for him. I went from a world class striker to a world class grappler on a 2 week notice, 10-day notice, and it didn't affect me at all. Like I could care less. I'm like, I'm going in there on the 16th, whoever's in front of me, and I'm going to make a statement and get right back to where I'm at and remind people who I am and make a run at that title.
That was amazing, man. It was just an amazing punch. And like I said, I've watched fights. I've seen people go down, but I was genuinely concerned about Bryce Mitchell. What was react? So you hit him, and what's amazing about this? Not only the punch, that you were able to restrain yourself from hammering down on him after. You hit him? Did you just kind of know he was done? What happened to you mentally and physically to stop and on the follow through there? Because that's a big thing. And he's a big believer in Christ. I don't know whether Christ saved him or some sort of, what stopped you from pounding on him after the fact, after that punch?
Yeah, no, I feel like that was all me. You know what I mean? I've done that several times where I've knocked people out and I watch them fall down and I just walk off. I've done it a handful of times, and I'm a cerebral fighter, so I'm very aware of what's going on in my fight, and I'm in control the entire time. I know some fighters say they black out or tunnel vision or whatever they say,
Right.
but you know, I'm very aware. I listen to my opponent's coaches, their corner. I listen to my corner. I can hear some of my wrestling coaches that come to all the events. I can hear them throughout the stadium. I can hear their voices. I'm very coachable. So yeah, as soon as I hit him and I saw him falling down, he's out cold. I'm not gonna follow up and punch someone while they're down when they're unconscious, because
Right.
even just that blow that I landed to him, his head, I hit him right square between the eyes. And that's a bad knockout. It's like I didn't even touch him on the chin or jaw. I hit him in his forehead, and he suffered that type of knockout, and with like the convulsions or seizure, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be career ending, let alone if I followed up and hit him, 3 to 5 more times, like with like hard hammer fists or something like that. And then it could be, I don't know, it could be all bad. So I went in there, I did my job, and of course it's like raw emotion. So people that were critiquing me or saying certain things of me, like celebrating, you know, while he was out, I'm like, that's why people buy the pay-per-views. That's why people buy the tickets, because they want to see violence for one, and they
Yeah.
want to see big knockouts. So I did my job and then still get criticized, but it's like, it is what it is.
And that's the thing. I can't believe the haters in the comment are criticizing you, and you have the photo where you're standing over him. Listen, like, you have momentum, your adrenaline's pumping, you're in the mood. First of all, I commend you. Amazing stuff to restrain yourself. That's amazing situational awareness. I think you saved his life, really. Like, that was amazing. And then another thing is just like, why would you hate on somebody? You're just celebrating. You're in that mode. I did some amateur fights, and after a win, I felt so good. You're on this high. People are screaming, especially after a knockout like that. It's like a natural momentum, I think, feeling that you got. And then I noticed your physiology changed once you actually saw him, right? Did it kind of, like, you were excited, then it kind of hit you, correct? That, oh shoot, man, this guy is down and he's I don't know, having a seizure, whatever. And then I think you kind of hit you then, right? It took a second though, right? That where you're like, wow, this guy's
Yeah,
hurt.
100%. It's you nailed it there. I was celebrating. I did my job. That's what we worked
Yeah.
so hard for. I was so prepared. Went in there.
Mm.
I'm trying to do that every single time I get into the octagon. I did that. I was celebrating, and then by the time I look over and he's still down, then of course it's hard to continue to celebrate with someone that's still unconscious and we're not sure what's going on. So that's when I, of course, take a knee and kind of snap back to reality, and then just pray that he's okay.
It's ridiculous that people even criticize you for that, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I would just, you probably don't care anyway, but I would definitely shut the haters off for sure. I want to talk a little bit about those 2 losses. I know the past is in the past. You were on a 5-fight win streak, and I watched those fights, man. The Rodriguez fight, I mean, you just got caught with the triangle. And again, you were taking it to him. The fact that he took your punches were amazing. So I got 2 questions. Number one, are you now working more on the ground game so you don't get caught with the triangle again? I mean, it happens. It's part of the game. People get caught, right? And number 2, did you do anything? Has your striking even improved that much more? Have your hands gotten heavier since that fight? Because again, you got him really good. It just didn't knock him out the same way it did Bryce. Or was it just you caught Bryce with a better, cleaner shot? Or are you stronger now?
No, yeah. Like you said, with the Yair fight, it's I just made a mistake. No one catches me in a triangle. He just, I didn't address it. The first round he threw up that same thing. I addressed it right away. I passed the triangle, and then I was in side control. I wasn't threatened by it in the second round, and I did not address it. Then by the time he changed the angle, and once they kind of cinch it in, it's a little too late. So that's what he did, and I just made a huge mistake. But as far as like punching goes, no, it was a tough, that was a tough camp, and fighting in Australia, traveling across the world. It was a lot of things that kind of played into that, where I wish I could have fought him in Vegas in March, and there is a thing. I do want these fights back. I want that fight back. I want that Ilya fight back.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing everything. I like the way that I was prepared for this fight on the 16th. No matter who it was, I was winning. So I wish I fought Ilya or Yair with the preparation that I had for this past fight. But it's not how it is. So it's I just need to get back to whoever I need to fight to get back to the title. So that's why I want the clearest path to the title. That's why I want the number one contender or someone in the top three, so I can get back to fight for that championship belt.
For sure, such a shift. And again, I've been watching fights for a long time. The fact that you're 38, you might hear people say, "Oh, he's not 20, he's not young anymore." I still think you're in your fighting prime. Again, this is my opinion as an outsider looking in. I think you could have beat those guys. I really do. You fought them hard. It's just the way it went. And I think hopefully maybe that, the past does not equal the future, and that can help you propel you. My friend Benil, you know him. I think he was on a 7-8 fight win streak, lost his last two. And I heard him interview. He came onto my show before his last fight, and then he lost again, Oliveira, and then his last fight he lost as well. What do you say to guys like that who've kind of been veterans and they're on a 2-fight losing streak? And I don't know, I can't speak for him, but when I heard him on his interview, it sounded like he's a little like kind of thinking about things and stuff like that. And it's not just him, but other fighters that question stuff. And I see, because I see you going all the way through winning the championship after those, momentum that way. What do you say to guys that are on a losing streak? Not just Benil, but anybody. And do you get like any advice for them? Because you've just proved that you can overcome it. Any advice to any of the fighters that have lost and maybe doubting themselves?
Yeah, it's man, that's where I feel like my mentality is one of my strongest attributes, and like I'm never gonna quit, and for me, I feel like a lot of people, like at least Benil and myself, like look at the losses. He lost to the former world champion, and
Yeah.
he just lost to a guy that's like probably going to fight for the title. I did the same thing. I lost in the interim title, and then I lost to a guy that's fighting for the title now, undefeated. So we're fighting the best guys in the world, and this is a game of inches, and you have to have a little bit of luck on your side as well. But I feel like people that are just on a little skid, a losing streak, you just have to. You have to trust the process, and you don't need to change things up. There's some people that are young, they think that okay, they don't win a fight and then all of a sudden they have to change camps, they got to change coaches, they do all these things. It's like, no, just keep doing what got you there. That's life. We're gonna face adversity, we're gonna go through challenging uh just situations and positions in our life, whether it's like in business, it's relationship, it's your career, whatever it may be. It's just
Right.
you just have to. You can't just give up, and that's my big thing. It's like never stop fighting for what you want. Never give up. Like once you give up, then you kind of given in, And for me, it's like I feel so good, and I know age is just a number. But then a lot of people that meet me, they're like, "Man, I didn't know you're like I'm going to be 39 in March." So people are
Yeah.
like, "I didn't know you were in your late 30s." They always think I'm like 32, 33. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, sometimes I don't look or fight like I'm closer to 40." And I feel phenomenal because I take good care of myself. Like I live the lifestyle. I do so much recovery, and I focus on sleep and working out. This has been my entire life. So for a lot of people that are dealing with defeat and stuff, or just overthinking things, just kind of just set goals, low hanging fruit, like low, midterm, and long term goals, and just get up and work. Like work your ass off and work towards those goals every single day. There has to be a purpose and trust the process, and you'll get there.
I'm curious, what do you walk around at right now? Like typically, I think you fight at 145, but what do you typically, because you look like a bigger guy. Do you walk around? I'm sure you're like 170, 180 at least or more, right?
Yeah, no. Sometimes when I'm like just enjoying life, and if I haven't been in the gym for a few weeks and traveling and eating, yeah, I can get way up there. I can get up there 185. If you told me to get to 200, that would be easier for me to get there than me getting to 145. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know if you can answer this question. I'll ask you anyway. Tony Ferguson. I'm really curious. He's on a 7-fight win streak. I just wanted your opinion on this because I've been going back about this on my head, in my head, and a lot of people ask this question. Even Dana White came out and said that he should retire. What do you think of Tony Ferguson? In your opinion, again, fellow guy in the UFC, do you think he should retire at this point? I mean, he's just taken a lot of tough losses, but again, to tough guys, right? At this point, in your opinion, do you think he should keep fighting 7 fights? That's a lot. That's a lot to overcome, right? I don't know.
Yeah. So Tony Ferguson, it's again, that's that's up to him. That's up to him and his coaches and team. But only he knows. But he is fighting the best guys in the world, and it is kind of tough from someone that was going on. He was like 15-1,
Yeah.
to now he's on a 7-fight losing streak. It's tough, and I don't know how he continues to. Well, he'll get up, he'll go to the gym, he'll work out, he'll continue to fight, and it's just like loss after loss. That's got to be super hard, not only physically but mentally. That's got to be mentally draining. Possibly he needs to get with a team, like because I know he kind of runs his own camp, and he doesn't do a lot of sparring. He was saying, and does his own
Yeah.
thing. Maybe he needs to go to an actual team and get some coaches, and literally they just schedule stuff out where he's sparring, he's going to jiu-jitsu, wrestling, he's doing a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? I feel like he needs to do that.
No, no
But yeah,
problem.
no, I feel like maybe he reevaluate some stuff. But if he doesn't want to retire, he needs to get with a team. He needs to run like he just needs to run like a legit camp, and he can't just do it himself, because I don't feel like that's really working that well for him.
Okay. I know we're tighter for time. I know you got a lot of interviews to get to. I'm sure. Have you done a lot of interviews actually since the fight? Have you met with a lot
Yeah,
of people?
I've done a few. Like a lot of times, I haven't been doing like for the past few years. I just haven't been doing interviews and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I've done like Ariel's show. I've done a few other bigger interviews, but other than that, I don't know. I'm just not the. I used to do every single one, and then I just kind of got away from him just so I could focus on training.
Well, I appreciate you coming on for sure. I just want to ask, how do you feel moving forward? Your all obviously ultimate goal is probably for sure getting the belt and retaining it and defending it. I'm assuming. So how are you feeling moving forward? Is this a huge? I'm assuming it's a huge confidence boost. And the way that you did it, you could have just won, but the way that you did it, it's going to be memorable. It's going to be if there's like a list, if there's like a Blu-ray or some sort of documentary on the biggest knockouts in the UFC history. This is probably going to be like top 3, top 5, maybe the best of all time. How much confidence did that knockout give you moving forward now?
Um, to be honest, none. It's like I know I have the power, and it's you know MMA. We have the highest highs and the lowest lows, and it's like when you're winning, it's like you get all this attention and everyone wants to be around you. When you lose, you don't hear from anyone but like your circle. So it's like I have a big, tight knit, close circle. I've been in the game for a long time. I've been playing sports my whole life. Wrestled through college. Man, this is just normal. So it's like I'm not taking it in or doing like I just went in
Yeah.
there and did my job. So I went in, clocked in, got my payday, and then I'm gonna. That's just all out the window. None of that means anything to me, and I'm just gonna kind of get back into working out. I have some new goals set on the horizon, and I'm just gonna work my ass off until I can get to those and achieve those goals. Just because, I don't overlook anyone. I don't like I don't know. Even with something like that, yeah, it was great. It's everything I wanted. I wanted to go in there and get a crazy finish, a devastating finish, and I did that. And we celebrated, but now it's in the past. I can't dwell on that. I can't be too excited about that because in my next fight, I'm not gonna. And I've been doing this so long, like I'm not gonna go in there and just I can get this other knockout and just swing for the fences, hoping I get it because then sometimes that doesn't come. So I'm just gonna whoever I fight, I'm gonna come up with a new game plan and just just work on that and try to execute that against my next opponent.
I love the attitude. It's like to be expected. You've been there before, to be expected. And I think for a lot of casuals right now, you're on their radar. More people have now discovered you. You've gone viral, right? So that's gonna stand out. It's gonna give you some more attention. By the way, I'll put a link below. You got a new T-shirt brand as well. I'm gonna put that below as well. I think I just saw it literally before this meeting. I saw you have a new T-shirt brand with a new logo.
Yeah, so it's so a lot of things you can check out at joshemmett.com, my website, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm actually doing this merch. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
doing this limited edition, yeah, merch this little collab with Full Violence
Yeah.
in May, so they dropped it. So it's on all my social media platforms. Like if you go to my my link tree. You can do that, or you can go to fullviolence.com, and they have their sweaters are super good material, and their t-shirts are like they're really soft, like tri-blend material. So they're awesome. And yeah, we're gonna run with this. It's running till the end of the year or until they run out. And there's been quite a bit of orders already in the first few days. So I don't think it's really gonna go towards the end of the
I think I never wear another man's t-shirt, but that knockout was so good. I might just get one of these. Actually, I'm out in the Northeast, so I want the sweater. I want the sweater version of these for sure.
I know that's what a lot of people were saying. Even that they're like, I was at that event, so I'm gonna get one of these shirts just because I was at the event. I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. So, no, yeah, I appreciate that.
I just want to end this on like I said, I've watched a lot of fights. I mean, I grew up watching this. I mean, I used to watch the Chuck Liddell days, and I got a thick skin. I watch football. I talk about football. I've seen concussions. I've seen brutal stuff. I was really, like I said, I was really concerned for Bryce Mitchell. That's how hard. And again, here's another thing. Typically when someone does that to somebody, you kind of hate on the person, but you're a likable guy. So I'm like, I still like Josh, but like I feel bad for Bryce. So it's kind of like I can't hate on you. Now Bilal, what's the other guy? Muhammad. I'm not a fan of him, right? Bilal Muhammad. Like if he knocked him out, I'd be like, yeah, screw that guy, right? He's not as likable, right? So there's certain fighters I don't really like, and they're not as likable, I should say. And there's other guys that are just nice guys, and I'm just happy for both. I'm just happy he's okay, right? That's all I care about right now.
No,
So
it's the same thing. Like he really is such a good guy. Like I was even saying, man, I ran into him so many times during fight week. We were talking, and then literally fight day, I ran into him in the hotel, and we're gonna fight later this evening. And he comes up to me, he's like, "God bless you today, brother." I'm
yeah.
like, man, can't you? I wish he looked at me kind of crazy or just said something kind of stupid to me. So I'm like, now I got to go punch this guy in the face. I'm like, it's hard to because he's a genuine person, and I've been, private messaging him back and forth, and we've been talking just because I wanted to check in on him. And yeah, he's doing fine. And man, I think what you see in the videos and the interviews, at least in my opinion, that's as real as it gets. That's Bryce Mitchell. He's. I feel like he's even nicer when the cameras aren't even around, even though he's such a nice guy on camera.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to fight people like that are nice. Even Beneil, right? Just totally praising the other guy. It's like, give me something to get angry about, right? Like I need to get angry, but I'll have a little bit of like drive to want to punch you out. And you always see those pictures of like, and he doesn't even look like if you saw him on the street, like, oh, I could push that guy around. And you always see those memes of those like big bodybuilders, right? And then
Yeah,
you put a picture of Bryce Mitchell beside this big 300-pound bodybuilder, but who would really win the fight? I'm going to put my money on Mitchell for sure.
yeah, me too, me too.
So I appreciate you coming on, Josh Emmett. Amazing, congratulations! I'll be watching. I'm a fan. I meet all you guys, Terrence McKinney. All these guys are up and coming. Guys like you who are title contention, and it's like now I'm more emotionally involved when I'm watching fights. So it becomes harder and harder for me to watch UFC because like I'm just like it hurts, man. I want to make sure you guys win. So more pressure on me as a viewer now that I'm getting to know amazing personalities like yourself, man. It was awesome. I appreciate you coming on.
Cool, anytime. It was nice to meet you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you guys. We're out. Make sure you guys subscribe, drop your questions below, thumbs up, and grab the merch. We'll talk soon, guys. We're out.